What is up, Internet? My name is Thomas.
Today we're going to talk about 4 ways that cryotherapy helps athletes dominate. Those 4 being recovery, number 1, recovery, number 2, mental health, number 3, energy, and number 4, weight loss. So jump on into it. Number 1, kind of just showing you guys around the gym here a little bit, give you guys the scope out, you know. Number 1, recovery, and I guess pain too. Basically, you know, if you're serious about working out, if you're serious, about working out, if you're serious about whatever it is you're doing, whatever sports you're competing in, you're gonna be working a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean like 5-6 times a week, maybe even 7 times sometimes, it kind of depends. You might be working out 2, maybe even 3 times a day. Again, it depends on the level you're at. If you're a professional, you might seriously be working out like 2 or 3 times a day. The reason I bring that up is because you can very quickly wear your body out, and it can take up to months for your body to actually fully heal through something. Like even when you think something is healed, you could hit the gym and you could definitely notice or feel it somewhere, wherever it might be, depending on your particular thing that you do, whatever sport it's going to affect your body differently. You're going to feel it. And if you're going constantly, you're not really giving your body a lot of time to recover. And that's where ice baths and cryotherapy kind of comes in. Basically, while you're in here, actually, let me just roll it back a little bit there. Okay, so basically, every time you work out, you get inflammation, and your muscles as well get teared and damaged. You have to recover, you have to fix. And when they get fixed, that's when they get larger, because knowing that they're likely going to be damaged again, your body builds them back stronger so that that's not going to happen again. It's just an adaptation. So if you continue to go, you're not giving your body a chance to repair those things. You're just damaging them again, and you're actually really damaging yourself potentially. And with too much inflammation, excess inflammation, comes a kind of almost bleach that your body produces to keep away like invaders and basically bacteria and so forth. So if you're going all the time, you've got excess amounts of this just sitting in your body. And you're working out on already damaged muscles, and basically if you're following my what I'm going through here, you're hurting yourself. You're actually reducing, or in some cases slowing down, but potentially even reducing the gains you would otherwise have. So doing cryotherapy helps you recover more quickly. How? Well, basically it helps through mainly vasoconstriction. First off, it's going to reduce all the swelling. It's going to pull all the chemicals, all that bleach I was just talking to you about, the chemicals that the white blood cells release that cause pain as well. That will all be moved out of the area. In addition to this, while you're in there, your body also enters a hyperproductive state. Basically, the vasoconstriction, the reason your blood is pulled from your extremities is because it's super cold in there, and this is actually a normal reaction to cold, is to pull the blood to the from the extremities to your internal organs. This is because if your internal organs drop even a single temperature, it could be potentially fatal. And so your body will sacrifice your fingers, your toes, etc. before it sacrifices your body. It's just how it goes. So while you're in there, your body, after vasoconstriction, enters a hyperproductive period. Basically, it starts breaking down a bunch of the nutrients and so forth you have. It starts producing more mitochondria, more collagen, and collagen is good for more than just good looks. Collagen is part of your skin, your bones, and your muscles. Basically, just throwing it out there. You're breathing a lot, so all the blood there is getting oxygenated. Hormones are being released, norepinephrine, for example, which is actually a big part of what causes everything. Basically, long story short, is when you get out of this thing, rather than vasoconstriction happening, which is when your blood gets pulled and where your veins basically restrict and become smaller, vasodilation happens, which if you imagine someone's eye, if it restricts and gets larger depending on the light that's being, that's in the room, that's being, shown to it, it would be a similar situation for your veins where they would open up or close down. So when you get out, your blood just rushes out everywhere it needs to go. And if you recall, we just said a moment ago that there was a lot going on in here, that you entered a hyperproductive period, that lots of things are being produced and lots of things are being broken down in a rapid period of time. So that doesn't just disappear when you get out of the chamber. Your body quickly reabsorbs all of that as it pushes it out, and it goes immediately to work basically to fix what went wrong. This is similar to what would happen with an ice bath. So basically that's how it helps with recovery. That's number one. So moving on to number two would be mental health. This is actually my favorite. If I had to pick one of the four, I really like this one. It's just so huge. Like, I don't know if you guys recently saw, there was a football study that showed that like of 112, I believe was the number. The number's kind of irrelevant here. It could be 113, it could be 110, but I'm gonna say 112 people actually got tests to see if they had previously ever received a concussion in football. And they measured all players from a very large group, you know, college players, high school players, professionals, and they found that every single one of these football players, except for one person, had actually received a concussion. Don't take my word for it. You can go look into it, because I don't want to be like that guy. I don't want you to hate me for saying that. You might be a big football fan, but go look it up. The reason I bring this up though is because norepinephrine, the hormone I just mentioned a second ago that actually is released into your body, the hormone that actually causes vasoconstriction to happen, which is, you know, the pooling of the blood and the chain reaction and so forth, norepinephrine is actually huge for mental health. Believe it or not, it helps with vigilance, alertness, and so forth, but more important than that, more interesting than that, is the fact that it also helps in the formation and retrieval of memories. What I'm telling you right now is that it can actually help mitigate concussions and help heal concussions that already happened. So reduce the likelihood of the concussion happening, and thereafter helping with the recovery process. I'm not saying it's going to be insane or anything like that, but I'm saying it is a thing. And I think it's a big part of why we saw the Dallas Cowboys and a lot of other these football teams picking up cryotherapy, as well as the UFC. And just so you guys know, norepinephrine, that hormone, like I mentioned, it is released every single time into your body between 3 and 5 times the amount that is normal. And the reason is because it's mandatory. If you guys have watched my other videos, you know exactly what I'm about to say, but when you're in there, it's a fight or flight situation. Like I just mentioned, if your body, if your internal organs drop a degree or two, it could be fatal for you. So your body has to react as such to keep you alive. And basically, you could almost say that everything else in terms of what you get with cryotherapy would be unremarkable compared to the release of norepinephrine and what norepinephrine actually does for your body thereafter, because it is a chain reaction, because your body is an interconnected system that we are still learning about all the time. It's crazy, but there are just so many things we just don't understand. We actually don't have a full understanding of inflammation. We don't recognize the majority of the materials that are in our stomach, the bacteria and so forth. Like, so much of it is foreign. There are just so many things still at this point that we don't understand about ourselves, because we are just so complex. And so number 2, that being said, is mental health. It can help with these things. So that's 2 so far. So the next thing we're gonna get into is energy, and then finally is weight loss, just to kind of recap real fast. So energy. There are 3 things here, mostly 2, but 3 things that are gonna be a big deal here. So I just mentioned norepinephrine, so let's stay on that real quick. Norepinephrine, I just mentioned, helps with alertness, helps with vigilance, which are characteristics of a cup of coffee. It has the same mental stimulation effect. People who have low amounts of norepinephrine actually show symptoms of depression. It's common. The 2 and 2 go hand in hand. If you don't have a lot of it, then you're gonna feel more down. And so norepinephrine naturally helps with, you know, those goal-seeking behaviors, you know, energy, drive, and so forth. So that's number 1. The second thing would be the increase of brown fat. While you're in here, your body produces basically a ton of brown mitochondria. Let me kind of dial this back so you can understand a little bit more actually. Basically, brown fat is mitochondria dense white fat. White fat is just the normal thing you see. It's just, there's nothing weird here, it's just fat, right? The reason brown fat's called brown fat is because mitochondria is iron dense, and iron has a brown color, giving it the brown color for the fat. This is significant because mitochondria is actually the powerhouse of the cell. It basically breaks stuff down, like fat, for the example, in this example. So while you're in there, one of the key things that happens is that norepinephrine, that hormone we mentioned, actually sends a signal to this thing called UCP1. And UCP1 uncouples the charge in mitochondria, because mitochondria actually has a positive and negative charge, kind of like a battery. This makes your body think you have no energy. So in a kind of frenzy kind of situation, it starts making more. And within 10 to 20 cryotherapy sessions, you could have as much as 38% more brown fat. This isn't any kind of anomaly or anything like that. This is a natural adaptation. It's been shown everywhere in the world that if you're working in, if you're in colder environments, especially if you're working outside in colder environments, you have a higher amount of brown fat. And brown fat, basically, like I said, is just a more quickly, more easily, more readily digestible version of fat, giving you more energy for those fight or flight situations and everything else when you need it. It's quick, it's there, you know what I'm saying? So that's number 3 would be energy. So I'm actually just gonna cover the 2. I could get into like how it helps you sleep and stuff like that, but I don't think it's worth your time. It's not significant enough. Going into the final thing I was gonna mention was that it was gonna help with weight loss. Weight loss isn't always going to be something that's important, but sometimes it will be. If you're in bodybuilding, if you're in competitive like bikini type stuff like the dancing and so forth, if you're a fighter, if you just gotta cut your weight just because it's just slowing you down a little bit, whatever it might be, it helps with that. And like I said just a second ago, we have the mitochondria. That plays an effect right there. It increases your resting caloric burn, but in addition to this, your body will also burn anywhere from 500 to 800 calories warming back up from a cryotherapy session. So that's warming back up. So from the moment you get into the chamber until you get out, and 75 to 90 minutes afterwards, you'll be fully warmed up by that point, and you'll have burned 500, 800 calories. That is the cost of warming your body back up after being exposed to minus 300 degree temperatures for 3 minutes. Your skin is gonna get as cold as negative 32 degrees. Actually, not negative. It's gonna get as cold as 32 degrees. I had to say it with the same inflection because I already said it once like that. Can't just switch it up after that. It's gonna get as cold as 32 degrees. So as you could imagine, it's gonna take some time for your body to warm you back up. And because of that, 500, 800 calories. To put this into perspective, you have to burn about 3,500 calories to lose 2 pounds. So you could probably lose, let's see, that's pretty close. How many sessions do we have to get at the lowest? Let's say at the lowest you have 500. Let's just be super realistic. That's, camera automatically stopped recording. So that's 7 sessions to burn 2 pounds. That's not bad. That being said, you still gotta eat right. You gotta have a calorie deficit. And I'm on the low side. I'm doing 500 calories, not 800 calories. So this is the low side of things. It's gonna be 2 pounds a week if you do it every single day. So, hey. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you're feeling generous, please drop a like right down there. It helps us. And if you have any questions, drop a comment. I will personally answer it for you. And please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.